Intros for Monday Night Football have become a staple in almost every American television throughout the years. Whether it's sitting in front of a television set with family or at a bar with friends to catch the game, there's something about Monday Night Football intros that oftentimes pumps viewers with the right amount of adrenaline before game time. And over the years, these intros have evolved to give the viewers a fresher and sometimes edgier preview to the game. However, in one particular Monday night game, controversy would boil over as a pre-game locker room skit involving Eagles wide receiver Terrell Owens and Desperate Housewives star Nicolette Sheridan caused many viewers tuning in to be completely outraged, calling the segment racially and sexually offensive. This is the story of the most controversial moment on Monday Night Football broadcasted on national TV. Guys, before we begin, I just want to make a quick announcement that I will be doing a PS5 giveaway as I was able to get my hands on one of these bad boys via a sponsor. And all you need to do to enter is make sure you're subscribed to the channel with all notifications turned on.
Billy Martin, straight from Brooklyn, better known as Brooklyn. Never taking shorts because Brooklyn's the bomb.
Now, to give you a quick background on the history of Monday Night Football, during the 1960s, former NFL Commissioner Pete Rozelle had envisioned the possibility of playing at least one game weekly during prime time that could be viewed by a greater television audience. Initially, the NFL experimented with Saturday night games on the Dumont television network in 1953 and 1954, but due to poor ratings and the collapse of the network, the NFL scrapped the Saturday lineup. And towards the end of the 60s, the league began a 4-year experiment playing on Monday night with both CBS and NBC televising NFL and AFL games respectively. Following the completion of the AFL-NFL merger in 1970, CBS and NBC were at the time dominating networks but were reluctant to enter in what they perceived to be a risky venture hosting Monday Night Football games. This in turn led Pete Rozelle to negotiate with ABC on a new television contract that birthed a new Monday Night Football partnership with the network, one that would last an incredible 36 years. Throughout that time, the network enjoyed strong ratings in the beginning, however, viewership would take a small dip in the 80s before dropping almost 40% from its peak in the late 90s, leading the network to lose millions of dollars. To combat the decline, ABC tried experimenting with the booth, switching from a 2 to 3 man partnership and vice versa, and even brought in Hall of Fame quarterback Dan Fouts, along with comedian and political commentator Dennis Miller, to join Al Michaels in the booth. But that partnership didn't last long as ratings continued to struggle and dipped below the 12 million viewership mark. This paved the way for veteran broadcaster John Madden, who left Fox and joined ABC after his longtime partner Pat Summerall retired from broadcasting. Madden joined Al Michaels in the Monday Night Football booth beginning with the 2002 season, a move that brought stability and instant credibility to the broadcast. The pair worked well together and even received positive reviews, but none of that would matter in the 2004 campaign. Around this time, ABC was hemorrhaging as much as $150 million annually, and with their current deal with the league set to expire at the end of the following season, ABC deferred renewing their contract despite CBS and Fox extending their Sunday afternoon NFL deals through the 2011 season. ABC was paying the league $550 million a year for the rights to air the Monday matchups, but advertising revenue never came close to covering those costs. Throughout the 2004 campaign, Monday Night Football ratings continuously dropped below the 10 million viewer mark multiple times throughout the season. Therefore, in Week 10, ABC made the decision to feature an intro segment ahead of the Monday Night Football game that also included their #1 show at the time, Desperate Housewives. This was a show that brought the network back to the forefront in ratings, consistently drawing over 20 million viewers on Sunday primetime. The show was a comedy drama mystery series that centered around 5 scantily clad women. So ahead of the marquee Monday night matchup between the Philadelphia Eagles and Dallas Cowboys, this was the intro skit that had viewers up in arms.
Hey there, Terrell.
What are you doing here?
Oh, my house burned down. And I needed to take a long, hot shower. So where are you off to? Looking so pretty.
Baby, it's Monday Night Football. Game starts in 10 minutes.
Oh, you and your little games. I've got a game we could play.
Hey, this is major. We've got Parcells and the Cowboys, and Donovan needs me.
Well, what about my needs? What about Edie?
Will you stop it? All of Philadelphia is counting on you.
Well, I can't help myself. I love you, T.O.
Then how about you tell me what's buried underneath that pool?
Oh, you know I can't tell you that.
Then I got a game to play.
Terrell, wait.
team's gonna have to win this one without me.
Oh my God. Who watches this trash? Sex, lies, betrayal.
And that woman is just so desperate.
I know what you should watch.
Are you ready for some football?
Before we continue, I gotta give a shout out to the sponsor of this video, MyBookie. Winning season has started off hot, but MyBookie is continuing to crank up the heat with a $50,000 Survivor contest. Whether you're a new or existing customer, if you made a deposit with MyBookie, you'll earn an entry into a $50K Survivor contest absolutely free. To play, all you have to do is pick one winner a week to keep your streak alive and have a shot at the grand prize. Start off strong with a Ravens pick against the Lions, who haven't beaten Baltimore since Lamar Jackson was in the 2nd grade, or ride a hungry Steelers squad looking back to get to their historical dominance over the Bengals. Either way, it's simple to play and win even if you don't have a ton of betting experience, which is why I always choose MyBookie for NFL contests. Head over to mybookie.ag now to get in on the competition and use my promo code CLASHER to receive double your first deposits and get instant access to the 50K Survivor pool. Again, that's promo code CLASHER to double your first deposit. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. Okay, so I know some of you may be thinking, what was the big deal about this whole skit, especially when comparing it to some of the stuff that's going on today? From mass twerking music videos and performances to dancing with your schlong hanging out, what exactly was wrong with showing a woman's bare backside? Well, aside from the NFL being a family-consumed content with many children watching, the league has always had a history of protecting their shield and their product. That's why when ABC aired this skit, it had then NFL Commissioner Paul Tagliabue absolutely fuming. And that's not just all. Everyone and anyone would chime in, and this was way before the social media era. So just think, had Twitter been around this time, the league and ABC would have been trending for days. It was reported that over 50,000 complaints were made to the FCC after the game that prompted FCC Chairman Michael Powell to claim that he was outraged by the salacious act. But truth be told, many of the complaints were deemed mostly political that came from various interest groups. Nonetheless, it still doesn't take away from the fact that many viewers were upset with the sexual and racial undertones from the skit. It seemed as though America wasn't ready for white women portrayed in assassination with a black man. Some other groups even imply that for black males, success means white women. So you guys can kinda understand where this was going. Like I said before, everyone had their own opinion on this matter and gave their 2 cents. But what really added to this moment was the fact that earlier in the calendar year, viewers were already enraged about what occurred during the halftime show in Super Bowl 38 when Janet Jackson's breast was exposed by her co-performer Justin Timberlake. This was a huge controversy in itself, and a ton of backlash was thrown in the direction of the NFL and their halftime show performers, but mainly Miss Jackson, even though Justin was the one who tore apart her costume and exposed her. Nonetheless, this contributed to a great deal of the public outrage on Monday Night Football. For me personally, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really think much of the racial or sexual undertones as a young buck, but was probably more preoccupied staring at Edie like any other normal dude. Heck, if anything, I was probably more appalled by T.O.'s acting ability and the fact that Disney-owned ABC actually went ahead with airing the segment. In any event, probably the most funniest thing that came out of all this was WWE's parody weeks later that trolled the NFL.
I can see the moral fabric of America disintegrating right before my very eyes.
Anyways, ABC, following this debacle, issued a public apology calling the placement of this intro inappropriate, and the network would see out the last year of their agreement with the league before ESPN took over Monday Night Football from 2006. T.O. would also publicly apologize, but only after his Cowboys won convincingly and the receiver going off for 6 catches for $134 and 3 touchdowns. With that being said, this was the most controversial moment in the history of Monday Night Football.